Hey everyone, this is Nitro. So I'm just putting together another Nitro setup video this week because Ancient's Call is going to be released this week. And actually, the funny thing is, they actually don't call it Ancient's Call. Instead, it's apparently going to be named Ancient Beckoning. So, nonetheless, slightly different name, but it'll be Ancient's Call. If you log in today, there will be 2 rewards for you to claim in the info page, right? One of them will give you, I think it gives some gold, experience potions, and some equipment enhancement materials for the 7-day login event. And for the About Future, which is the Happy 9th Langrisser Day event, you actually also get 2 Trinity vouchers for free. Right? You get a gift of 2 Trinity vouchers. So definitely some free items is always good to collect. So just letting you guys know about that. And with that said, let's now begin moving into my Nitro setup video. So first things first, I will cover the results of my dragon farming for last week. And it was actually an incredibly good week for dragon farming. Or just getting SSRs in general. So, the week before, I got a total of 6 SSRs from the combination of random accessory boxes, dragons, and joint battles. This week, or last week I should say, the total number of SSRs was 13. So, it was 11 if I exclude Timeless Trials and Limited Time Event, meaning random accessory boxes, dragons, joint battles, and world events actually gave me a total of 11 SSRs, which is crazy. So, for example, Monday gave me 5, in 5 runs I got a Devil's Axe, which is actually good. I'm desperate for Aura Column Ore right now, so I actually currently prefer getting garbage items, because if I get garbage items, I know I can turn them into 100 ore right away. But if I get good items, they'll just sit there until I can get enough Epic Martial Spirits to upgrade them. So yeah, Monday was very good. Devil's Axe from 5 runs, and the World Map event gave me a Frost Rend. I also purchased 4 random accessory boxes, but got nothing out of those. Tuesday, I got a total of 3 SSRs. 5 dragon runs gave me a Bloodline Magic Armor, which is my first one, as well as a Mirror Armor. And then the Joint Battle gave me a Purgatory. So I turned these 2, I think, into ore. No, sorry, let me take that back. I kept the Mirror Armor because I'm building up another Mirror Armor, but I turned the Purgatory into ore. And currently I have a level 20 Bloodline Magic Armor, so I'm going to have to start collecting Epic Martial Spirits for yet another piece of gear. Wednesday gave me 2 more SSRs in 2 runs, and they were Reaper's Breath and Assault Headgear, so another 200 ore. Thursday, 5 runs gave me nothing, so because I got nothing out of those 5 runs, I decided to purchase 2 random accessory boxes right after that, and I managed to get a Holy Arc out of those 2. In addition, the Timeless Trial gave me an Eye of the Beholder. Not much to say about that. I mean, it's my second one. It's going to be sitting in my bag for quite some time until I can level up a level 51. Continuing on, Friday, I managed to get my second Last Rites, which is amazing. With Ancient's Call coming, I was very, very desperate to get more Last Rites and King's Crowns. Still haven't seen a King's Crown, but a second Last Rites is really, really good news. So I'm very, very happy with this one, and this is definitely going to be the gear I'm going to prioritize upgrading for now. Definitely need to get this Last Rites up to level 50 so I can have 2 of them and have 2 of my characters equipped with Last Rites, right? So, I also finished off I also did the 7 Notes Curse event a bit, and I finally got the weapon from it, which was a Purgatory. So, 2 Purgatories this week, both of them turned into ore. Meh. Saturday's 4 runs on the Thunder Dragon gave me nothing. And then Sunday's 4 runs on the Dark Dragon actually gave me a Bloodsword Hunting. This is my second one. And surprisingly as well, another world map event gave me a second SSR. So I got a Peacemaker out of that. So that ended up being two 2 SSRs from world map events, right? 6 random accessory boxes gave me 1 SSR. You know, and a joint battle also gave me an SSR. And then other than that, from the Dragon runs, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 SSRs. So this is definitely one of the weeks where I've gotten the most SSRs ever. Like, it's very rare for me to ever see 11 SSRs in a single week. So, and it really came at a good time, because now I can get a few more epic martial spirits to upgrade my gear in preparation for Ancient's Call. So we'll see how that goes. You know, Ancient's Call is this Thursday, so hopefully my luck continues for, you know, the remaining 3 or 4 days this week, so that I can be even more prepared for the Ancient's Call battles. So with that covered, let's jump back into the game. And I should probably go over the status of my SR characters at this point in time. Now, keep in mind that in total, I've done I've done over 2100 summons now on banners, right? Specifically on summoning banners, right? I've done a whole bunch on equipment banners as well, but those don't really count because they don't give you the SR heroes. So I think roughly I have 2130 draws on hero banners at this time. And in terms of the SR heroes, I have quite a few now at 6 stars, but there's been a bunch that remain unfinished. So, for example, characters that I finished recently were Sophia, who has hit 6 stars. Farakia has hit 6 stars, so now she is surprisingly usable if I build her up, because at this point, her morph skill has a cooldown of 2 turns. And another character who recently hit 6 stars was, of course, Varna, right? But other than those, there's a whole bunch of SRs that are nearing completion as well. For example, Imelda, I managed to pick up a few more copies of her, so I now need just 4 more copies of Imelda to finish her off. This is probably my biggest priority and biggest hope to finish off Imelda. Right? Chris as well. Chris was previously 4 stars. I actually got a lot of copies of Chris pretty recently, so now I only need 5 more copies of Chris to bring her to 6 stars as well. And also Vargas picked up a whole bunch of copies, I think. I just need 5 more copies of Vargas as well. So 4 copies of Imelda, 5 copies of Chris, 5 copies of Vargas. Lance also actually now just needs 1 more copy. He previously needed 2 copies. And then finally, Serena has now reached 3 stars. She was previously 2 stars. So overall, there are very, very few SR characters left that I need to get copies of. Now, of course, Angelica is stuck at 4 stars because you can only get copies of her via world map events, and the newer world map events have not been released yet. So she'll be stuck at 4 stars for a while, which makes her really not usable. Olivier, being a collaboration character, you can't get shards of him in general, unless the only way to get shards of him is if A, the collaboration events return, and you can get shards that way, or B, you decide to grind up his shards in the Gate of Fate. So I'm not going to be doing either, so my Olivier will be 5 stars for a very long time. Iris is the same, right? Collaboration character, and so is Chloe. So these 3 will be stuck at 5 stars for quite some time. Alright, so with the status of all my SRs covered now, let's talk about my current shard farming and my struggles with it, because I actually realized I'm in pretty serious trouble when it comes to shard farming at this point. The reason is because there's so many good SSR characters in general. Currently, I am going to continue focusing on my tanks and Luna. So I'm still doing Juggler, I'm still doing Landius, and I'm still doing Luna. Right? Luna is actually very rapidly reaching completion in particular. Currently, she needs 43 more shards, which means 11 days. 11 days and my Luna will be complete at 6 stars. And then once she's complete, I'm going to definitely finish off Landius. Landius needs 75 shards, which is 25 days. And then Juggler will need... wow. A whole bunch more. Let's say 104 shards. So... 104 shards, if we divide that by 3, that will be 35 days. So, in roughly a month, all 3 of these characters will be done. Right? But I'm going to have to choose someone to transition to after Luna is complete. And the most likely character I'm going to choose will be Yulia if I get her. If I get her. Because I think Yulia is a top priority character that you'll want at 6 stars, kind of like Elwyn. Right? If you use her, you're going to have to bring her to 6 stars. But in addition to these characters, there's a whole bunch of characters I feel I need to grind up. For example, I don't know. This is a questionable one. I don't know if I need to raise Ultimuller to 5 stars or not for Ancient's Call. I'm going to be using him at 4 stars initially, and then depending on how well or how poorly he performs at 4 stars, I may have to grind him up to 5 stars. We'll see there. But other than Ultimuller, Bernhard is very much like a mainstay of my Apex Arena party, and he's very useful for Ancient's Call as well. So I think I need to raise Bernhard to 6 stars. That is 148 shards that I have to grind on him. If I do decide to do 4 shards per day, that will be 37 days. And if I decide to do 3 shards per day, that will be 50 days. So we'll see there, right? It's going to be a long time for me to get Bernhard completed. But other than Bernhard, there's still lots of other characters that I need to finish. Leonhard is 5 stars. And if I want to really use him, I really should bring him to 6 stars because he gets a dramatic improvement at 6 stars that I didn't realize, right? First of all, his talent even at 5 stars is when there are no allies within 2 blocks, all attributes are increased by 16%. At 6 stars, it becomes when there are no allies within 1 block. It might not seem like much, but it's a huge difference. Because effectively, that 1 block means he can remain in your tank's guard range and still have all attributes increased by 20%. And in addition, his Act Again effect, right? The cooldown goes from 3 turns before you can act again to 2 turns. So, 2 incredibly powerful changes on Leonhard if you can raise him up to 6 stars. And that's another character that needs 50 days of grinding to level up. Another character, well, 2 other characters that I really do need to level up as well is Listel and Bozel, right? Both of them are mainstay characters in PvP, and they should both be brought up to 6 stars as well. Listel needs 150 shards as well. That's yet another character that needs 50 days of grinding. And then Bozel needs 80 shards, which is significantly less. So Bozel will probably be a higher priority to raise up to 6 stars than Listel, right? Because at least I can get him up to 6 stars that much faster. Other than these characters, a few other characters that I'm looking at that are not in this list at this time include Renee, right? At least 5 stars for Renee. I have her pretty much fully built, but she does need a few more star levels to have more intelligence overall. And remember, every star level increases your all your stats, and also improves your talent, right? And in Renee's case, if she's at 6 stars, she can afflict enemies that she damages with 2 random debuffs rather than just 1. So she's another character that could be very much worth grinding up to 6 stars if you can. Rachel, right? We saw, for example, in Apex Finals of Season 1, both players used Rachel in their party. Mine is 4 stars. So yet another character that I may have to consider grinding up. because Rachel is very much... she's very similar to Lana in terms of combat performance, right? High damage single target strike, has AoE attacks, and in the case of Rachel, she can remove debuffs, heal allies, you know, and is faction buffed by Landius. So Rachel is a high utility character, which may also be worth grinding up to 6 stars. And then finally, yet another character that I definitely want to level up that I currently have is Cioppino. Because in the case of Cioppino, at 6 stars, she reduces the cooldown of skills she uses to deal damage by 3. It may not seem like much, but that additional 1 turn cooldown reduction means she can endlessly toss out Demolish. And that is a very useful combo for PvP. Right? As long as she's guarded by a tank, she can endlessly toss out AoE attacks and dispel buffs on the enemy. So that can make Cioppino very, very useful. In particular, I hear Cioppino really becomes very good for Season 3 of Apex Arena. So there you go. Another character that I may have to look into grinding up. So just like that, how many characters have we gone over? 1 character, 2 characters, 3 characters, 4 characters, 5 characters, 6 characters, right? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 characters that I'm currently trying to level up to 6 stars, right? Maybe not Ultimuller, but even at least Ultimuller needs some grinding potentially to 5 stars. So that's just of my existing SSRs, right? Other characters that would be incredibly useful include pretty much every SSR in truth, like, but the ones I would be looking at would be, for example, maybe Sakura in particular, because the reason to build Sakura would be primarily be for her skill, Hyaka Rorin, because this skill can inflict heal reversal on the enemy, right? Heal reversal is effectively what Listel inflicts on enemy characters, and it's very hard to deal with, so having her in your party with that skill always helps, right? You know, Lanford is considered a great PvE character, not really considered top level for PvP, so I personally will ignore Lanford, although Lanford for Ancient's Call has a lot of utility from what I hear, due to the stat buffing on allies. Sigma could be a very useful character potentially. I mean, because he's a faction buffer for Ye Less Legends. You know, if your opponent does ban Landius, you know, Sigma may be worth playing as a character for the faction buff and for extreme range attacks to help finish off targets. But in order to use Sigma, he has to be 6 stars, right? He's very much a 6 stars or he's useless kind of character. And then, you know, other than that, Lambda, Gizerov, Weiler are all good characters. Probably characters I have no choice but to skip, but they would be characters that would be very nice to build. In particular, Gizerov especially because of his faction and him being the faction buffer for Mythical Realm. Right? All these characters in Mythical Realm are quite useful, right? Bernhard, Bozol, Juggler, Zerida, Gizerov himself, you know, Lambda if you have her built, not happening for me. And in addition to these characters that I'm currently looking at, in truth, there's also the upcoming banners that I haven't even discussed yet. But basically, from the upcoming banners in December, I'm looking at Hiei as well as Yusuke from Yu Yu Hakusho. Like, if I get those characters, I probably want to build them up as well. So, tons of SSRs that I want to grind, you know. Every single SSR needs around at least 50 days, if not much more than that, to grind up. So I don't know how I'm going to get characters up to 6 stars. I'm probably going to have to continue to work with a lot of non-6 star characters in my Apex Arena party. Which just showed, but with all that said, I'm still pretty confident that with my Apex team, even though I may not necessarily get anywhere near as far as I got with this season, with season 1. At the very least, I should be able to get into Langrisser rank. You know, so that will probably be my goal ultimately for the next season. Just get into Langrisser. Alright, so with all my struggles with shard farming talked about, let's now talk about, you know, the current events that are running and my status with them. From the Redeem Points event, it's actually going very well. I'm basically completely on track to finish this event, right? I've purchased stamina 4 times, once, pretty much basically once every day, more or less, and I have 60 points from that. And then from doing the World Arena every single day, from sharing the first time every single day, and then from completing daily missions every single day, I will get 420 points, right? So 420 points plus the 60 points from having purchased stamina puts me at 480, which will allow me to purchase all of these items, which will get me for sure the Epic Martial Spirit. So all I have to do now is make sure for today, well, for tomorrow and Wednesday, that I will share the first time every day, do a World Arena battle every day, and complete all the daily missions. And I'm done. From the Big Boss Gamble, I mean, I already covered the reason why I did, I guess, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 purchases in a separate video. But yeah, I mean, I ended up doing 6 purchases, which was a total of 1050 crystals, and it got me basically the skin vouchers. At this point, I'm stopping here because the next few purchases will cost 500, which is effectively doubling the amount of crystals I'm going to be using. I use 1050 right now. Adding another 500 is 1550, right? So it would be like 500, 600, 800, and 1000. No way. Just not worth it. In the first place, while runestones are nice to have, I personally think they're not a must-get anymore, at least for me, right? Same with the random accessory. You know, Star for the 3 Trinity vouchers will be a loss at this point. When you're spending 500 Trinity crystals for 3 vouchers, absolutely not worth it. And then the Zerda skin, I already mentioned previously, Zerda will get a free skin when I think the New Year, with New Year's, and I'd rather have her New Year's skin than have to pay for the skin. It's pretty, don't get me wrong, but I'm just not willing to pay. Most likely I will have to pay, 3,000 Trinity crystals for this skin, and it's not worth it. So other than that, I'm not really going to go over my heroes in detail right now because, in truth, I'll go over them in detail with the Ancients Call battles. Right? This week, I mean, Ancients Call battles will be starting very shortly, and in every Ancients Call battle, I'll demonstrate my party as well as play out the fight. So you'll get all my information there. But in brief, basically, the characters I'm focusing on upgrading right now are characters for Ancients Call, which are Iris, finishing her, Olivier, getting him upgraded, right? Alte Muller, because I'm going to be using Alte Muller, Narm, because Narm will likely end up in 3 separate fights for me, because I don't have perfect parties set up for the initial release of Ancients Call. So basically 4 different characters that I'm upgrading at this time. Olivier, Iris, Alte Muller, Narm, and maybe Chloe as well. This is a maybe because I don't think I have quite enough resources to upgrade Chloe this week. But she's another character that I think is well worth upgrading. Oh, also, I am also looking at upgrading Hein, but in Hein's case, it's really a matter of the minimum amount of resources I need to commit into him for maximum performance. So, for example, I am highly unlikely to use 16 Bursting Heart Keys just to get this Hind an additional 4% hit points, defense, and magic defense value. I don't think that's worth it, right? Those 16 keys could go into a lot of other characters instead. And as for the Heart Bond, well, Heart Bond materials, as always, I have a shortage of them, right? But I'm currently holding on to 5 Source Element items, as well as 6 Soul Element items, because I haven't quite decided who to completely upgrade for Ancient's Call. Most likely, I will wait until Ancient's Call begins and then upgrade, for the fight specifically. But Narm will definitely be one of the characters that I'm going to finish. Alright, so that's more or less all the changes over the past week. It's mainly been, this past week has mainly been gathering materials, having it all on hand so I can determine the best use of it when Ancient's Call begins, right? I am going to have to experiment a few times with those Ancient Call battles, The first attempt will be testing it out and then seeing how well my characters perform without any of the bond upgrades. If they perform well and I get S rank like on the first fight, not likely, but if I do, then I don't have to do any upgrades. But otherwise, I'll probably commit resources, as the fights go on. So, that's everything I wanted to say in this video. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you found this information useful. And on that note, Nitro out.